If you've seen part 2 of this video series, feel free to fast forward 3 minutes into this video to avoid repetitive information. This is a document published by a research agency of the U.S. Department of Justice on investigations into satanic cults spanning over several years. The document serves as a training manual to investigators of satanic cults. For ease and convenience, I will be referring to this document throughout this video as the U.S. Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults. These are 3 tweets from 2006 on Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey's Twitter account. Let's read them from the top. Quote, page 307 of the Satanic Verses made me cry. Typical. Quickly return to pages 86 to 87. The second tweet reads, quote, making the good pasta, reading through some amazing parts of the Satanic Verses. The golden threads begin to intertwine. And the third tweet reads, quote, pasta and the Satanic Verses. Ah, one more Jeeves story first. Pasta is said to be pedophile code word for little boy on the WikiLeaks Podesta emails. This is Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey's Instagram, in which, circled in red for easier visibility, is a license plate on the upper left that displays 666. Per the U.S. Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults, 666 is the mark of the beast, one of the 4 ways to refer to Satan. Also circled in red for easier visibility are 3 sixes that appear on this Rolex watch upon closer inspection. According to the second comment, the time zone feature of the watch is set incorrectly. Inverted pentagrams, circled in red for easier visibility, appear on this random photo of a car on Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey's Instagram. Per the U.S. Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults, the inverted pentagram is strictly satanic in nature and represents the goat's head, or Baphomet. What you're going to hear next is a brief audio clip of a lecture by Jordan Maxwell, foremost authority on occult symbolism, on the cult of Saturn, for which the occult symbol is the Masonic square, as you shall learn in Jordan Maxwell's audio clip. Together with the audio clip are images of squares taken from Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram, a recurring symbol that appears over and over again on his social media.
All of the things which are going on in this world today, from 9/11, all of the wars in the Middle East, all of the incredible bloodshed that's being spilled all over the earth, can be traced back to, and you might want to remember what I'm saying here, because I'm sure you're not going to make the connection when I first tell you, but I'm going to try to explain it to you. The things which are happening today, the people who are in power in this country, the great generals from around the world who are planning wars and violence and bloodshed, all of this stuff can be traced back to the planet Saturn. Saturn is a very, very pivotal, important concept in theology and religion. And most people have never been told any of this and have no knowledge of it at all. But the planet Saturn is very important in world affairs, in theology. In the Islamic belief, the holy city of Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia, Mecca has a Masonic circle, and within the Masonic circle is a square. because you got to do everything on the square, remember. You have a town square, you have New York Square, you have Vatican Square, you have Red Square, you have all kinds of squares. Why? Because this is Masonic. And it goes all the way back into the ancient world, the terms and symbols. Again, the planet is called the Black Square. It's called the Dark Sun, the Black Sun. This is what the Nazis and the SS and the Gestapo wore black. That's why priests wear black. That's why judges wear black robes. Why do you think a judge wears a black robe? He wears a black robe because when you used to graduate from university, you wear a black robe. Why black robes? Darth Vader wears a black robe. What the hell does a black robe have to do with anything? The judges wear black robes. You know, Supreme Court judges wear black robes. Black robes represent the priesthood of the planet Saturn, the Saturnalian Brotherhood. All you need to do is study Nazism, and you will begin to see that the powers behind the Nazi Party, the Thule Society, the Germanian Order, were all members of something called the Saturnalian Brotherhood, the Brotherhood of Saturn. Saturn was the god of darkness, chaos, and destruction. He teaches you a lesson. He will take your life if you don't listen to him. So consequently, Saturn was very, very important in the ancient world. Thank you. Saturn's name, incidentally, in the old Phoenician, ancient Canaanite religion, in the Middle East, the old Phoenician Canaanite worship of the planet Saturn was the most important god of all the ancient world, was the planet Saturn.
As you heard in the audio clip, Jordan Maxwell linked people in power responsible for wars and bloodshed to the planet Saturn, the god of darkness, chaos, and destruction, and the most important god in the ancient world. Incidentally, the occult name for Satan is Saturn. The ritual sacrifices to Moloch was Saturn worship. According to this book, called The Illuminati Formula to Create an Undetectable Total Mind Control Slave, by Fritz Springmeier and Cisco Wheeler, both survivors of trauma-based mind control. Jordan Maxwell also spoke briefly about the Brotherhood of Saturn, which is a group of Thelema followers left behind by the heritage of Satanist Aleister Crowley, the founder of the religion of Thelema. Crowley was denounced by the popular British press as, quote, the wickedest man alive, and in chapter 12 of his book Magic in Theory and Practice, Crowley wrote, quote, for the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim. While the occult name for Satan is Saturn, the occult symbolism for Saturn is the square, as you heard earlier in Jordan Maxwell's audio clip. The Mecca, or the Great Mosque in Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of the Prophet Muhammad, and the holiest place of worship for Muslims that attracts millions of annual visitors during the Hajj, is in the shape of a square. In her exclusive statements to the French newspaper Le Monde, a Saudi princess claimed that slavery in Saudi Arabia is done in secrecy and permitted only among the primary beneficiaries of the princess of the House of Saud, and includes buying and renting children, especially orphans, from Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, the Philippines, Somalia, Nigeria, Romania, and Bulgaria. In one of QAnon's posts, he points out the House of Saud as one of the puppet masters, along with the Rothschild and Soros families, with a net worth greater than that of the House of Rothschild, at $4 trillion. In Saudi Arabia's plan for a 500 billion megacity, the occult number 33 is utilized. There are a high volume of images of squares on Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram, this one included, some of which you saw during Jordan Maxwell's audio clip, including images for a company called Square Inc., for which Jack Dorsey is CEO and for which the logo is none other than the image of a square, the symbol for the planet Saturn, or Satan. Other elements that appear over and over again on CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram, along with images of the square, are the colors black and white, which you can see is represented in this photo by Jack Dorsey's black trousers and white shoes, along with the color red, represented by the table. Per the U.S. Department of Justice investigations of satanic cults, the color red can be symbolism for blood to Satanism, while the colors black and white is symbolism for duality, or polar extremities, good and evil, night and day, pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow, and so forth. The concepts of duality and polar extremes are integral to the cult and Brotherhood of Saturn. Focused on polar opposites, the ancients saw Saturn as the outermost planet, furthest from the light of the sun, effectively making it the dark side. The darkness is necessary in order for there to be light. As the author of the book Lords of the Left-Hand Path points out, Saturnian teachings give primacy to darkness. Darkness is said to precede light and to provide a matrix for the manifestation of light. Without darkness, there is no light. The dualism of the FS does not seek to destroy one pole in favor of the other, but rather, it seeks to go beyond the polarities through experience of both extremes. The experience of polar extremes is described by former Illuminati programmer and satanic ritual abuse and mind control survivors Vali, in her account of a secret double life that she lived before she broke away from the cult. By day, on the one hand, she was as normal as can be, as a mother, school teacher by profession, and practicing Christian. By night, on the other hand, she functioned as a trauma-based mind control programmer at a military installation, administering drugs and employing trauma-based mind control techniques on subjects of mind control. Trauma-based mind control torture techniques can be extremely sadistic. Using as an example, trauma-based mind control survivor Cisco Wheeler's account of children aged 2 to 4 years of age, who she witnessed were put in cages to be raped by trained animals. This type of torture technique also appears in the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document. Another example of duality can also be seen in the content of Nikki Hilton Rothschild's Twitter account. One day, a children's rights advocate against child sex trafficking. The next day, displaying images that can be interpreted as pedo-sadist symbols. With a slice of pizza in the right hand, Nikki Hilton Rothschild's comment here is, pizza pregame. In the WikiLeaks Podesta emails, pizza is code word for girl. On the pizza box on this photo, there's an image of a pair of dominoes, symbolism which Pizzagate researchers claim is used in reference to sadomasochistic sex. The cat apparel and leopard print clothing are some of the symbolisms for the sex kitten altar, or split personality, which I talk more about in parts 1 and 2 of the Rockefeller/Rothschild video series, linked below in the description box. Sex kittens direct or take part in child pornography, ritual sex, and prostitution. The date of this Instagram post on the bottom right-hand corner coincides with All Hallows Eve, on October 31, the first highest satanic holiday that involves blood or sexual association with the demons, and animal or human sacrifices. Similarly, some of Twitter's CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram posts coincide with satanic holidays, many of which display recurrent images of what could be symbolisms for the planet Saturn, or Satan, duality, and blood. This one, which we went over earlier, included. Let's do a quick recap of the symbolism on this photo. The black trousers and white shoes worn by Jack Dorsey on this photo might represent duality, for which another symbol is the yin and yang, as listed in the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document. The document also states that the color red can signify blood to Satanism, as represented by the red color of the table on this photo. The square shape of the table could be symbolism for the planet Saturn, or Satan. According to this comment from a viewer on my YouTube channel, for every mock ritual, there's a real one. Satanists publicly display the mock version of a ritual online that corresponds to a real one. It has been said that the mock cannibalistic fundraiser dinner at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles, conceived by Satanist Marina Abramovich, is a mock version of a real ritual, in which human or animal sacrifices would have taken place. At this mock cannibalistic dinner featured in this article appear symbolisms for duality, blood, and the planet Saturn, or Satan. As can be seen in the photos, the colors black and white, symbols for duality, are predominant, appearing alongside the color red, symbolism for blood. The square, symbolism for Satan, appears partially on the red awning in the background, along with a triangle and circle, in what looks like is supposed to be the acronym for the Museum of Contemporary Art, or MoCA, the venue of the mock cannibalistic dinner. In place of the letters M, O, and A in the acronym MoCA, shapes such as the square, triangle, and circle appear. The animal should therefore be killed within the circle, or the triangle as the case may be, so that its energy cannot escape, wrote Aleister Crowley on the ritual sacrifice of animals, a quote taken directly out of chapter 12 of his book, Magic in Theory and Practice. Per the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document, Satanists conjure up demons. Demons that would appear inside a triangle inscribed on the ground during conjuration rituals. The square, triangle, and circle also appear in Marina Abramovich's spirit cooking exhibition at the Guggenheim Museum in the 1990s, while the 666 that appears on the very left of the photo is one of the 4 ways to refer to Satan, according to the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document. In this Reddit post, Marina Abramovich could not have made it any clearer that the representation of occult magic in a gallery is nothing more than art. But when done within spiritual circles or in private homes, then it's a ritual. If there's a mock ritual behind the real one, this exhibition would have been the public and mock version, while the real ritual would have been the spirit cooking dinner to which Marina Abramovich invited John Podesta, given that the spirit cooking dinner was to take place at Marina Abramovich's private home versus a public space. In the same way, this image that you saw earlier on Nikki Hilton Rothschild's Instagram could be a representation of a mock ritual of the high satanic holiday with which it coincides. Dated October 29, this Instagram post coincides with All Hallows Eve, the first highest satanic holiday involving sexual association with the demons and animal or human sacrifice. As previously pointed out, there's a pair of dominoes that appears on the pizza box, dominoes being a known pedophile code word on the WikiLeaks Podesta emails. The bottom of the email reads, quote, P.S. Do you think I'll do better playing dominoes on cheese than on pasta? This diagram on Nikki Hilton Rothschild's Instagram is a representation of a sex magic ritual. Please watch part 4 of the Instagram of a Rockefeller and Nikki Hilton Rothschild video series, where I discuss some of the symbols on this diagram, including the lightning bolt, which, per the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document, is symbolism for Satan. On this photo, the colors black and white for duality are reflected on the diagram, while red for blood is represented by the ring fashioned after the red lips worn by Nikki Hilton Rothschild, positioned to the right of the diagram. As pointed out in the last few illustrations on Nikki Hilton Rothschild's Instagram, and the mock cannibalistic fundraiser dinner conceived by Marina Abramovich, central to the public display of mock rituals are ritualistic symbols for duality, represented by the colors black and white, blood, represented by the color red, and the planet Saturn, or Satan, represented by the square. Symbols that incidentally appear over and over again on Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram, alongside recurring images of bottles and coffee, as bizarre as it sounds, this Instagram post being one of them. As it turns out, this Instagram post dated January 17, as indicated in the bottom right-hand corner, coincides with the Satanic Revels, which takes place also on January 17, a satanic holiday for which the ritual or ceremony involves oral, vaginal, or anal sex. If this Instagram post represents a mock ritual for the satanic holiday with which it coincides, the black trousers and white shoes worn by Jack Dorsey on this photo might represent duality. The red table could signify blood, as represented by the red color of the table, and the square shape of the table could be symbolism for the planet Saturn. Should there be some occult meaning attached to the bottle sitting on top of the table, the comments by Jack Dorsey on a couple of his Instagram posts might give us a clue. Opening bottles with the Force tonight. Starting them young. Both Instagram posts are dated December 25, 2011 on the bottom right-hand corner. And in chronological order, this Instagram post with a photo of a bottle opener is followed by this one. Jack Dorsey is not known to have any children of his own. Opening bottles with the Force tonight. Starting them young. This knockout will make an appearance in my New Year's Eve eventually, reads Jack Dorsey's comment on this Instagram post. Incidentally, the dates for all three Instagram posts coincide with satanic holidays, which I'll discuss more of later. This is another image on Jack Dorsey's Instagram of a San Pellegrino bottle with a label featuring colors or symbols that could represent ritualistic elements. Dated September 21, this Instagram post coincides with the autumn equinox on September 22, a high satanic holiday for which the ceremony involves sexual orgies and human or animal sacrifice. Per the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document, satanic holidays are celebrated at the eve of the event, which means the ceremony or ritual for the autumn equinox takes place on the eve of September 22, which would be September 21, the date of this Instagram post. If this Instagram post is a representation of a mock ritual, the red color of the five-pointed star can symbolize blood, while the black and white colors that appear can be symbolism for duality. Per the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document, with or without the circle, the pentagram can be used both in black and white magic. There are a handful of recurring images of bottles on Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram that don't necessarily coincide with any given satanic holiday. Nonetheless, other events, such as birthdays, may be cause for rituals to take place. In the Sabbats or High Satanic Holiday section, the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document states that birthdays are revered by cult members. This is a photo of Ricardo Tisci on his birthday as indicated in the comment section highlighted in yellow on Kendall Jenner's Instagram. Ricardo Tisci is former creative director of Givenchy and a friend of Marina Abramovich, who he refers to as his family. Furthermore, some cults take pleasure in desecrating known religious and/or social functions, as stated in the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document. One might speculate that this photograph could be a representation of a desecration of a wedding. It's a photo of Clay Rockefeller on his Instagram, wearing a tank top with his naked kids at his cousin's wedding. As indicated in his comment, dancing with my kiddos at my cousin's wedding. This is an identical photo on his Facebook, with a comment highlighted in yellow, "Cute sauce." In the WikiLeaks Podesta emails, sauce is pedophile code word for child orgy. Given that Satanists take pleasure in desecrating known social functions such as weddings, a bridal shower, being a related social function, is likely to be another event that Satanists take pleasure in desecrating, and/or may be a cause for ritual. So many fun pretsies from today's bridal shower, is the comment here by Nikki Hilton Rothschild on her Instagram. If this image is a representation of a mock ritual, the square for Saturn could be represented by the square-shaped packets of cosmetic products on the floor, duality by the black and white tiled flooring, and blood by the pair of red panties. Baby showers may be another known social function that Satanists take pleasure in desecrating. This is a photo at Nikki Hilton Rothschild's baby shower, taken from her mother, Kathy Hilton's Instagram. Marked with red arrows on the table arrangement is what appears to be a decapitated baby doll. This is the zoom-in view for a closer look. Circling back to Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram, earlier the question was raised as to whether there might be occult significance to recurrent images of bottles that appear with ritualistic symbols for the planets Saturn, duality, and blood, images that could represent mock rituals for the satanic holidays with which their dates coincide. The next set of images of bottles on Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram may or may not appear with ritualistic symbols for Saturn, duality, or blood, and/or don't necessarily coincide with any given satanic holidays, but nonetheless may coincide with known religious or social events that may be cause for rituals, and/or the desecration of those events, that include birthdays, weddings, and other related events, as pointed out earlier in the examples on Clay Rockefeller's and Nikki Hilton Rothschild's Instagram. This is an image of a bottle on this particular Instagram post, for which the date doesn't necessarily coincide with any given satanic holiday. The bottle appears alongside the square patterns on the Louis Vuitton travel bag on the ground, square being the symbolism for the planet Saturn, or Satan. Incidentally, the bottle is a San Pellegrino bottle, which, as pointed out earlier on this Instagram post, displays ritualistic symbols such as the colors black and white for duality, the color red for blood, and the 5-pointed star for the pentagram. Symbolisms for Saturn, duality, and blood are again visible on this bottle. The square is indicated with a red arrow. In this image of a bottle, there are 3 men in the background, the number 3 being a significant number to occultists. As we've seen thus far, the images of the bottle appear over and over again on Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram. Similarly, images of coffee, as strange as it sounds, are also recurrent throughout Jack Dorsey's Instagram, the bag of coffee beans in this photo being one of them. Both dated December 25, 2011, this Instagram post as well as this preceding one incidentally coincide around the time of the winter solstice, a high satanic holiday that takes place on December 20, which is sexual in nature and involves animal or human sacrifice. If these two Instagram posts represent a ritual for the satanic holiday with which they coincide, the symbolism for duality, the colors black and white, and blood, the color red, are represented on this bottle opener, as well as on this subsequent Instagram post, on the red dress worn by the girl on the very right. Duality could be represented by the girls on the left and in the middle wearing black and white clothing, colors traditionally not associated with the Christmas holidays. The blue hats worn by all three girls, blue being another color not traditionally associated with Christmas, could be symbolism for pornography. Per the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document, the significance of the color blue to Satanists can be pornography. As just stated, images of coffee are recurrent on Jack Dorsey's Instagram. This one included where a bag of coffee appears in the hands of the little girls. If there's some occult meaning behind coffee, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's comment here, highlighted in yellow, could be telling. Gift of sight glass coffee for all, and to all a good night, starting them young. As previously mentioned, this Instagram post is dated December 25, Christmas Day, on the lower right-hand corner. It was once publicly stated by Hunter S. Thompson that perverts traditionally give to each other pre-teens of both sexes as Christmas gifts to be personal sex slaves and playthings. Hunter S. Thompson was implicated in the Franklin cover-up scandal, and allegedly the director of graphic snuff films at the Bohemian Grove, per the testimony of pedophile victim Paul Bonacci. The bag of coffee beans that appears on this photo is from a coffee chain called Sight Glass Coffee, in which Jack Dorsey is an investor. The border dividing the words sight and glass on the coffee maker's logo resembles a lightning bolt, which, according to the Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document, represents Satan. The logo for Sight Glass Coffee's espresso, Owl's Howl, is an image of an owl, symbolism for Moloch, and the object of worship at the Bohemian Grove. In the highlighted sentences of this post by QAnon, he puts particular emphasis on the owl, along with the Y-head symbologies. QAnon states, quote, their need for symbolism will be their downfall. Follow the owl and Y-head around the world. The next set of photos are recurrent images of coffee on Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram that coincide with satanic holidays and that appear alongside one or more ritualistic symbols representing the planets Saturn or Satan, duality, and blood. As previously mentioned, this Instagram post in which a bag of coffee appears is dated December 25 and coincides with the winter solar solstice on December 22. Dated September 24 on the lower right-hand corner, this Instagram post coincides with the autumn equinox that takes place on September 22, for which the ritual involves sexual orgies and an animal or human sacrifice. If this image represents a mock ritual for the satanic holiday with which the date coincides, the black and white symbolism for duality can be represented by the black and white marble tabletop, and blood by the red napkins or the red tufted lounge chair in the background. The text on the edge of the white-bound book to the right reads Clinton Global Initiative. This is another image of coffee that coincides with a satanic holiday. Dated May 2, on the lower right-hand corner, this Instagram post coincides with Rudemas Day, a high satanic holiday taking place on April 30 that involves animal or human sacrifice. Should this image represent a mock ritual, the number 3, a significant number to occultists, appears on the number stand, and there are 3 cups of coffee in this photo. Symbolism for Saturn can be represented by the square-shaped stand. The date for this Instagram post that you saw earlier is identical to two other Instagram posts, making it three Instagram posts in chronological order with the same date, three being a number of significance to occultists, this one being the second one. Symbolism for Saturn again appears, represented by the checkerboard squares, and towards the back appears fire, one of the four elements usually employed in rituals, per the U.S. Department of Justice Investigations of Satanic Cults document. This is the third related post, also of an image of fire. The following are more images of coffee on Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram, some appearing with images of squares, symbolism for Saturn. I'd like to revisit the bottle just really quickly on this Instagram post of Josh Kushner, brother of Jared Kushner, who in turn is the husband of Ivanka Trump and son-in-law of President Trump. Duality is represented by the black shoes and white socks worn by the man sitting on the bench, while blood can be represented by the red bench. Notice the bottle sitting to the left of the bench, which, as discussed earlier, could have some occult meaning attached to it. This image appears eerily similar to the photo that we saw earlier on Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey's Instagram. Here they are side by side. The bottle appears in both images, together with the colors red, white, and black, symbolisms for blood and duality, respectively. These are some other images on Josh Kushner's Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.